in real time, and so we can test it against reality. All right? So
Pause it right
let's
here.
go over some...
What he's saying here is something I really agree with. Today, me and my guy Bernard here are going to be reacting to Professor Jiang from Predictive History. Jiang has been pretty viral over the past month, and we think his content is hilarious. We think you'll enjoy this.
That Trump would get elected, that he would start a war with Iran, and that he would lose.
I don't think we can ever overestimate the influence insisted he was still alive, but eventually state media admitted that he did die in the airstrike. But then what they also said is that the Ayatollah, he's 86 years old, and he chose to die. He could have gone to Moscow, but instead he chose to stay in Tehran and die for his people.
Pause this for... man, we're going to pause this a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like, I know he could have gone to, or the Moscow thing is true. He could have gone to Moscow. I know that had been offered not only before, but was offered again.
Yeah.
So he could have gone to Moscow, but he didn't.
Saying he chose to die is kind of crazy. Okay?
Right.
Because he had no reason to think that the U.S. and Israel were going to kill him because they're in negotiations. I think for him, he's thinking that, hey, Trump likes doing deals. Maybe he's just looking for a deal. I actually think he thought Trump was actually looking for a deal. It's like Trump, he believed the things about Trump where he was like, hey, this guy, he just wants to negotiate hard and maybe he's looking for a deal. I think that's why he was just chilling. I don't think he thought they were going to pull the move.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, see, the problem with that is you had Venezuela.
Yeah, but they captured Maduro, right? So like his brain, it didn't kill Maduro. He's not thinking like, well, they're just gonna kill you.
Right. That's fair. That's fair. And I'm pretty sure he was in, what was it, like an underground bunker with like all his generals.
Yeah, and I'm not
different than showing up at 2 a.m. And before he gets to his safer.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm not saying that maybe he thought they were going to kill him and he accepted it. I'm not saying that couldn't have been a possibility. But that's not the story. We don't know that.
Right.
He's saying it like he's saying so many things that in a concrete way that we actually just don't know. More evidence points to he didn't think that Trump was going to pull that move.
Right. Like, I mean, not gonna lie, I'm gonna miss the Ayatollah's poetry.
Oh yeah,
spitting bars.
Spitting bars.
Bro was spitting bars.
Bro is low key a feminist just for his wife though.
Just for his wife.
Died along many of his relatives. He died along with his daughter, his son-in-law, his grandchildren. So many of the family died in this assault. Also, there's been reporting that he had prostate cancer. Okay, so he was going to die fairly soon.
See, the problem with prostate cancer is one of those things that basically any dude is going to get when he's old. Like, you're not going to die. It's extremely rare you die of prostate cancer. They mostly don't. It's like one of the most slow-growing cancers out there, and most of the time they just straight up leave it. Like, my grandpa died, and he had prostate cancer for years. It's one of those ones that doesn't move. He's 86, so he could have croaked at any point, but he's not going to die of prostate cancer.
Yeah.
As well. So what you need to understand first about the war is that even though the Americans and Israelis claim great success in decapitating the leadership of the Iranians, from the Iranian perspective, this is a martyrdom. Martyrdom, okay? And so the religion of the Iranians is called Shia Muslim. And this is different from Sunni Muslim. So Sunnis are the majority. They're about 9% of all Muslims in the world. The Shia have always been the minority. And as such, they've always been persecuted. So in the Shia faith, the core value, the force that binds everyone together and gives them purpose and meaning in life, that galvanizes them into action, is the idea of martyrdom, which forces jihad.
I don't know about that one. I don't know the differences a ton between the two. I do know basically, I know part of the schism is basically who could be basically head of the faith or head of like the empire at the time. It was basically, basically it was had to do with the heir of Muhammad who was next in charge, whether it was, I think it's like his relative or like his son, there was something like that. But that's why I know the split came from there. I don't remember the differences beyond that. But that sounds wrong to me.
Yeah, so the split between Shia and Sunni was a dispute about who should lead.
Right.
Yeah, so the Shia believes that the leader should stay in Muhammad's family. It should be like a monarchy kind of thing. And then the Sunni thought that the leadership should be chosen by popular consensus.
Fair enough. Yeah, Story of the World did not in fifth grade did not get into that, but yeah, okay, yeah, he's wrong there. So that's. Let's see how far this rabbit hole goes with him.
You sacrifice yourself for your religion. Sacrifice yourself for the common good. So think of the death of Khamenei as a sacrifice, a self-sacrifice, in order to motivate the Iranians in this war, okay? So that's the first thing you need to understand. That for the Iranians, this is not a geopolitical war. This is not an economic war. This is not a war of resistance. This is a jihad, okay? It's a war against the great Satan to avenge their leader. They will fight to the death.
I don't know.
That's the Taliban, boss. That's the Taliban. I know, like, Iranian government, they do, they're not a fan of Americans, but you're conflating a couple things there, big dog.
The IRGC has been preparing, and those guys they've been preparing for this war for a long time now. This is something they thought was in the realm of possibility sometime in the future, so they prepared for it. This is not like some religious thing. This is actually strategically thought out. How they were going to fight this war.
Right. I figured my thought was we were always going to sort of come to this point because you had Iran with, developing nukes, but they also had proxy networks going after, some other, nations in the, in the Middle East, particularly Israel, and then the US. Like, I figured we were always going to come to a head here at some point, depending on how fast they pushed nuclear development, right?
I don't know. So I think Khamenei himself was like, he's kind of amongst the people, he was kind of a moderate. That's the thing.
Right, yeah.
The US don't understand. Like, he didn't want to push for that. By all accounts, by what I've heard. I'm not in the guy's head. I couldn't tell you specifically what he was thinking, but
that was my understanding too. We should have got Jungle Doc in here because he knows the region so much better.
And the Iranians, I can't talk about this, but I've dealt with the Iranians personally. They don't push past a certain level. Here's how the Iranians used to do business. Back in the GWAT days, back in the even as recently as a couple months ago, right? They will push to a certain point until the US gets serious. And then they back off. They're like, all right, you guys got it. They'll always back off. They always do. That is their politics. That is just how they did business. They'll push you until you're like, hey, stop. And then they'll be like, okay, you got it. Because they know they're the inferior. Like, they're not blind to their position in the world. They know they can't go against the US. And usually, once the US puts their foot down, they usually be like, all right, you guys got it.
Right. It was just like back and forth. Or like, hey, we're going to bomb your base. We're going to bomb this base in, response to this attack. so clear out. But we're gonna do the strike, even though you evacuated everyone, so nobody dies, because we don't want to escalate this further, but we need to retaliate.
Or even it'll be even simpler sometimes, where those are the things that make the news. Things that don't make the news look like they're about to do something internationally, and we're like, don't do that, and they don't listen. They continue trying to do it. As soon as we start mobilizing forces to go stop them, they turn around. They're like, all right.
Right, and Trump's like actually committed to
Yeah,
doing something about that.
He fully committed. Even though they would have given him whatever deal, they would have probably given him a great deal. By all accounts, they did offer him a great deal. He just kind of
did he? I thought talks broke down. I never saw that Iran offered a deal in specifics.
I heard that they were down to agree to a deal that was even better than the nuclear deal Obama got.
Huh. Well, see, the problem with that is like inspectors weren't able to get in and that sort of deal, right? That's my understanding of the Obama deal, is like sanctions kicked in because they just didn't bother to let anyone, in there with nukes, like, or to inspect everything. Maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe it's the rum, but
that was the argument against it. But I'm not sure I investigated really because man, as I grew older, as I got better at this stuff, I realized that a lot of things that were the narrative back in the day, like it needs to, like we need to go back and reinvestigate with like a fresh perspective.
Right. See, the problem is stuff is so hard to. Actually, this is probably a really good use of like ChatGPT and trying to find old sources, but there's also stuff that disappears. Like, a while ago, I basically, because I was coming out of college, I was doing like a long word cell essay post, basically about how Minecraft got us to the point of where we are now with short form video content. Like the creation of Minecraft got us to that point. And it is so hard to find basically anything past 2015. Even anything political is also, you can't find anything past 2015, but anything just historical, anything beyond 2015 is incredibly hard to find, as articles get lost, articles get moved, even web archive, like if it wasn't big back in the day. That's the one problem with the internet now, is you can't find it. Like if you're trying to find something from a political event from, beyond a certain point, it's just really hard to find, even with the date search on.
Yeah, facts. I agree with that because I do a lot of research, like look into like how people thought about things back in the day, so just to give me a good perspective. And one thing I found was actually people always talk about institutions this, institutions that. What I found was all the big news publications still have all of their work up. They have all of their videos, even things that were on television. They actually put a lot of them up on YouTube. You can go back and look. And like, you can't. People like to rag on institutions, but this is a good thing about institutions, is that just record keeping. You keep like independent. Right. If you're just relying on independent news people or whatever, you're not gonna find this stuff, man. That stuff is gone, man. That stuff was on a hard drive somewhere, and now like a dog shit on it or whatever. Like that stuff is gone.
Man, like, I wonder what's gonna happen with historians in 50 years. Like, what's gonna happen? Because we have that same problem with like old scrolls that are just disappearing, and you can't get into because they were just decaying. Like, people talk about the Library of Alexandria fire burning everything down. The problem at that point was there were a bunch of old scrolls that were decaying, and nobody was updating them because it was expensive. So by the time the fire happened, everything was already rotting away. Like, everything on SSDs now, that's gone in 10 years if you don't move them to a new drive. Like 10 years later, it's gone. Or maybe 50, something like that. But it lasts half the time of hard drives. It's going to be interesting, man.
Yeah. They're just going to find new ways to try to learn about us, I think. But the good thing is, we're still writing physical books. We're still printing physical books.
Mm-hmm.
So until that really goes away, they got a good amount of content.
Right? That's number one.
We're never gonna
Number
get through
two
this
is
video.
No, we're
So
not.
that morning, when
I'm also sipping rum every time, so it's
Yeah,
more
it gets worse and
the
worse.
Israelis struck a school in the
it's
south
all
of
downhill from here,
Tehran,
baby.
killing about 150 school children. These are girls in primary school. And again,
This was the thing. Like, this is bad for the U.S. because this is a bad hit. But this is bad. Big, huge PR. Also, just huge PR problem for them, but also huge, just horrific, war crime. Bad thing that happened. At the same time, I remember like the school was basically on the military compound, and they'd gotten warnings about that and concerns about that from like the UN and other places. I'm like, is that a Hezbollah? Like, my thought was like, is that a Hamas, a Hamas thing, like a Hamas tactic, or is it just poor city planning with this? Obviously, the U.S. should not have, hit this, and who knows what happened. I hope, dear God, that it wasn't intentional, but like, still, you know what I mean?
Well, the thing about that is, in the U.S., there's also like schools, I think, and military bases, daycares on military bases and close to military bases. So, I mean, service members, kids need to be somewhere too,
That's fair.
So it's not really an uncommon thing, to be honest with you. So it's hard to judge whether they're doing that deliberately or not. But I do know, like, there are some RGC guys that hang out at schools. I'm not gonna. So whether this instance was an instance of that or like,
Right. Well, like, aren't the daycares we're talking about like in Europe, right? Like, what's the German the German air base that's like, what's it, Ramstein? That has like, it's basically a whole city. So it makes sense that there's on the airbase grounds there's a school and a daycare. Yeah. But like, do they have that in the U.S. in U.S. bases, like on U.S. soil?
I believe so.
Okay.
I'm just going off memory. That could just be compacted too much over the years, right. But I believe that's also the case. Don't quote me on that though.
Okay. Yeah, because that was my first thought. But like, if we have them in the U.S.,
we have huge bases in the U.S. too.
Right.
There's a lot of debate and argument as to what happened. This really said that, first of all, the school was next to a military base. We were targeting the military base.
Oh, you read my mind.
And second of all, it wasn't us which struck the school. It was a air defense missile that went off course. Okay? And the Iranians insisted no. The Israelis purposefully attacked the school to kill the school children. And then you're like, why would the Israelis do that? But then these few years, well, we've seen what they've done in Gaza, in Palestine, to the Palestinians. And it's pretty consistent what the Israelis have been doing. All right? So this action against the Israelis, it's meant to show to themselves and the world.
Stop. The missile, the attack on the kids' school was not Israel.
Yeah, no, it was the U.S.
That was a U.S. Tomahawk missile. So this guy's already off on this.
Right, he's already off. However, if you were to blind present to me, hey, either Israel or Iran attacked a school, I'm gonna suspect it was Israel. Because I say that as a Jew, they are speedrunning, burning through their PR like nobody's business.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's incredible, really, for the amount of Jews that are in Hollywood and legal, in the law, the legal sphere. Speedrunning your PR is just incredible.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
It's not good.
You have big countries like Russia that they care about their PR so damn much. Everything they do is PR based. Like, and then you have a small country like Israel, and they just don't care, and they don't think it matters to, like, brother. It might not matter this decade, but one day it's gonna really matter.
Right, like you're already seeing the pendulum go the other way.
Yeah.
From like, the boomer, the 80s, like, defend Israel, like the evangelical defend Israel, which that's going away for good reason for my theology soapbox. Like that is going away because that's just incorrect. Like that is aging out of the young Christian population for the most part. So they're losing that cover that they had with Israel, like just dedicated support of Israel.
Yeah, and I think the boomer support for Israel came from the wars that Israel fought in the Middle East because they were the underdog, and it's like a big underdog story. Like all these Arab nations are attacking Israel, and they're successfully defending themselves against all these nations, Syria and Egypt and all that.
Yeah, the evangelical vote is, or like the evangelical support is also very real. However, that is dying out somewhat. Like it's what Ted Cruz's generation, so what, and like Gen X and above, like that evangelical craze in the Christian world was like, it's still there, but it's nowhere near the peak that it was with the craze.
Yeah,
like the George Bush, like Magog and Magog. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Gog and Magog, yeah.
Yeah, which is a whole other. Never mind. I could go on Revelation, but I've got too much rum in me to do it accurately, and that's not the point of this video. They're wrong. Anyway, moving on.
All in. Okay, we've made the sacrifice. We are now committed to this war, to winning this war at all costs, and this action has also provoked the Iranian people to resist with their full might, okay? So I want you to keep this in mind. And again, we don't have complete evidence that it's the Israelis who did this, but given past actions from the Israelis, this is fairly consistent with what they've done, okay? So we can assume that this is something the Israelis did. Why they did this, what the purpose is something we will discuss as we move on, okay? It's very complicated. Next, I want to show you this. This is Dubai.
So he's basing his entire presentation off the fact that Israel did it, which isn't true. Anyway, moving on.
And Dubai is considered one of the wealthiest.
Who cares if your audience doesn't know? Fuck it.
In the world.
It's true. He was on Tucker Carlson, so you know.
All the brain rots.
To Dubai because it's clean. You don't pay any taxes. You make a lot of money, and there are great restaurants. And this is really the economic model of Dubai. It's one of the GCC countries, okay? The Gulf coastal countries. And for the longest time, Dubai had a really good deal because they were under the protection of the American military. So they didn't have to pay for defense.
Wait, what?
I'm pretty sure they have their own air defense network, or at least they buy interceptors from us.
Dubai was under the protection of the United States. No, that's not a thing.
No.
They were in the Middle East, which is the oil-producing center of the world, and so they focus on aviation. They focus on logistics. They focus on finance, on tourism.
No.
Wealthy, right? I'm not sure.
Dubai, they don't have any more oil. So they had to diversify and inflict with something else. The UAE, like I think the Dubai Emirate, I don't think they have any more oil.
Wait, isn't Dubai in Saudi Arabia?
No, Dubai's in the UAE. There's Abu Dhabi. I think the Abu Dhabi is I think there's like an emirate, and Dubai's like a different emirate and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like they had to diversify. Like they're like, it's like no taxes on certain stuff. Like I know they were coming from a lot of oil money. Like the oil sovereign fund pays for a ton of stuff, especially in the Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
In Emirates, one of the best airlines in the world. So their airport, Dubai Airport, is the busiest.
You think he's got a loyalty program with Emirates Air?
I don't know.
He's got that. He's got those points. He's got a shill for them.
Yeah.
Is in the world. And Dubai, for the longest time, was flourishing under American protection. And Dubai said to the world, listen, we're like Switzerland. We're neutral. We don't want any involvement in any wars. We're here just to take care of our citizens, to make sure everyone has a good time, to make money. And then right after the war started, the Iranians attacked the GCC, okay? Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, they attacked these places. And these places were like, what's going on? We're neutral, man. We're not involved in this
stop.
war.
yes, they're not involved in this war, but these places didn't take a stance that they said they're like neutral countries like Switzerland. This is like he just made that up. UAE is like funding different. It's funding like the RSF in Sudan. What is he talking about? And that's like let's say a huge genocide. Hundreds of thousands of people dying. What is he talking about?
Bro, just yapping. Also, like, it was a little like it was definitely unexpected that I understand why Iran did it to try to get them to the Gulf countries to kind of help tell the US to back down to kind of help their cause, and that didn't really work. But I understand why they attacked them, but also like that was unexpected.
Yes, but yes, they did not expect Iran to attack.
Was shut down in Dubai. At one point, the rich people in Dubai were willing to pay about $250,000 US just to get on a plane and get out of there. Okay? So the reality is this. For the longest time, Dubai had a reputation for being safe, and that's why people moved their money there. Guess what, guys? After what the Iranians did, it's dead. Dubai as a city, in the long term, it is dead. Because you're wealthy Western.
That is not,
move
bro.
to a place where it can be attacked.
Right, that's not true. I'm pretty sure they've stopped. Have they stopped attacks on the Gulf countries at this point, and it's just bases, U.S. bases?
No, I think they're still attacking places.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're just like targeting the high rises like they were doing in the beginning, but
right.
I think they still touch up the airports.
Right, like that was like a couple of days of like them trying to do basically a terror campaign, right, against civilian targets, like versus now, like
anytime by the Iranians. You might move to Singapore, you might move to Hong Kong, Japan, South America, but you're not moving to Dubai. Okay, so the big question for us is why did the Iranians do this? It was the Israelis and the Americans who attacked you. Why go after the GCC? All right? And not only that, but they're escalating the attacks against the GCC. So this is something that we will look at very closely today. Well, the short answer is because these places, even though they pretend to be neutral, they house the American military. They allow the Israelis and the Americans to use their airspace to attack Iran from. All right? So this is Bahrain. Now, Bahrain is interesting, okay? Because I want you guys to remember.
Wait. I don't believe there's like huge American military presence in Dubai and Abu Dhabi and stuff like that.
No.
They're like they're like
Bahrain,
host.
Yeah.
They're host U.S. ships, but that's like for like a week. That's not a military presence. They're just on vacation. That's not like a real thing.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the major centers
Bahrain
of
does
conflict.
But not the UAE.
First of all, this is the American Fifth Fleet, right? This is their
no, that's not. That's fishing boats, and probably the explosion that happened a few years back. Anyway,
the Middle East, and as you can see, the Iranians are attacking it with missiles, and it's being blown up. Bahrain is interesting because it has about 50% or even more, okay, Shia, which is the religion of the Iranians. But the people in charge.
I'm not even going to fact check that. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm like,
so,
he's probably wrong, but I'm not going to check it.
Yeah.
What makes this strike really important from our perspective is, first of all, not only are the Iranians attacking U.S. military assets, not only are they destroying the economies of the GCC, but they're also trying to ignite a religious war, right? Because you're Shia, you're loyal to the Ayatollah. And if he's dead, then you must, as a religious obligation, now commit jihad against your enemies.
What?
It's no different in other religions.
This is where his little mistakes at the beginning continue being problems.
The Catholics would be really angry at you, and they would want to kill you, right?
Oh, he is right.
Shia,
It's about 50%. It's 45%.
Arise,
Okay.
creating a revolution.
But he's wrong about this.
Okay?
He's like, the Ayatollah is the leader of the Shia. Okay.
Dubai will probably go bankrupt.
Right. He like takes his problem is he takes something like 50% of Bahrain is Shia. It's about 45%. I just checked it. But he takes that and extrapolates it into this other whole thing, like it's about jihad, and he's trying to cry. You know, he jumps about 50 feet.
Yeah.
That's his issue.
In the long term, we can expect the entire GCC area, including Saudi Arabia, to eventually collapse. Okay, and so this is something we'll use game theory
It's like
to
100% Sunni.
All right, let's continue. So we will know how this war develops just based on geography. Okay, so this is a map, and this map, even if you don't really know the war, even if you don't know the participants, even if you don't know the weaponry, this map will tell you exactly how this war will progress. All right, so some certain things to keep in mind about this map. This is what we call this area, okay, really small, it's 33 kilometers wide, okay? People can swim across it. It's really, really narrow, okay? This small area, guys, it's called the Strait of Hormuz, all right? And it's important
There's like 3 kids in the class.
it's really the center of the world. This
And they're like,
one
what is
area
happening right
This is actually in his house.
next pivot
Just his
of the
garage.
world.
Bro, people,
It's his kids.
people are saying he's
Dad,
not
I want to
even
go play
teaching.
games.
Yeah, people are saying he's not even teaching anyone. He's just
It's oil.
His kids are here like, Dad, I want to go home.
Where does it
I wanna go back to
It
play my
goes
game.
to Asia, India, Pakistan, South Korea, China, Japan. India depends on 60% of its oil from this area.
Why'd he say China like he's not from China, like he's from the US? China.
he just said here.
So the
Here in
interesting
China.
part with the Hormuz is one of the big byproducts of liquid natural gas coming out of the middle of the Gulf states is helium, which is what's used to create chips, and it's right there. So it's all going to go to TSMC and Korea and Taiwan. From what I've seen, TSMC has factories that just aren't even running right now because helium price doubled basically overnight once the strait closed, and orders aren't getting filled. So your compute shortage is getting even more compute shortages or shortaged. Norway has there's a startup out of Norway that's doing a new improved basically chip process. It drops it down to a fraction of the current size, or that's the minimum that they can do with the new process, and that uses helium. So good luck, have fun, guys. Your RAM's going to get more expensive.